Hey guys, this is Chris, and today I'm going to give you guys some quick tips on what to look for when purchasing used phones on the used phone market. Let's jump right into it. So the reason for this video is because I know I get questions asked all the time, not just from you guys, but friends and family. Chris, why do you have so many phones? Chris, how do you get so many phones? Like, what do you look for? You know, how do you find these deals? Like, what are you looking at exactly? And long story short, the used phone market is a market where I think a lot of people maybe have phones. They have multiple phones. Some people make bad decisions and buy phones they shouldn't have bought. So what people are trying to do is they're trying to get rid of these phones, okay? And the way that you take advantage of this market is you have to be educated. So you have to know exactly what to look for. It is a big risk, but there's also a very big reward in the fact that you're gonna just get so much savings if you purchase your own smartphone used as opposed through a provider or a carrier, etc., right? So what are the main things that I look at? Number one, the very first thing that I look at whenever I purchase a smartphone, a used smartphone, is I make sure that there's no blocks. Now there are two main blocks that you want to worry about. There are insurance blocks, which you kind of don't really have a way around, and there is financial blocks, whether it be a leased phone, whether it be a financed phone. These are blocks that carriers put on their phones to make sure that they get their money for what the phone was purchased for, and if not, they do have the ability they still have the ability to block it if they need to at that point. So two ways to do that. Number one, there's two ways to check it essentially. The first one is the easiest way to check it, and this one works pretty much 100% of the time depending on your carrier. I use T-Mobile. What I do is, and I'll show you guys here on my screen, is I will go to this website right over here, which I just Google T-Mobile IMEI Verify, and I make sure that it's the, T-Mobile.com, and it'll bring me to this screen right here. And in here you'll see it'll give you the code that you want to type into the phone so that it spits out the IMEI number, or you can find the IMEI number usually on the back of the phone, underneath the SIM card tray, or in the software itself. You get that number and you type it in here. Once you type it in here, it's going to tell you if there's a financial block on it or if there is an insurance block on it. So that is the best way to figure out to see if somebody is just, for whatever reason, like trying to get one over on you, right? And this is mandatory. If you're gonna buy a phone online on OfferUp, you have to do this. If you don't do this, then it's a very, very easy way to just get screwed over, straight up. Putting your SIM card into a phone that has a financial block doesn't mean that you can't use the phone. Remember that. There are still some phones that are not paid off yet, but because their bill is not outstanding, the carrier hasn't blocked it yet. So if they sell you the phone, your SIM card may work for a month or two, but when they stop paying their bill, that block is still on there and they can completely block your phone. So that's the first thing that I look at. Now, just as a follow-up to that, the other way that you can find out to see if there is a block on the phone, some companies do this, some don't. You can try and provide this as a trade-in. So you can type in this IMEI, submit it as a trade-in. Usually if it's, for example, a T-Mobile phone and T-Mobile will not accept it as a trade-in, it means there's a block on the phone. So that's another way. That one is kind of hit or miss, 50-50. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. IMEI is the best way, in my opinion, to check that. Now, the second thing that I look for whenever I'm on OfferUp and I'm looking for phones to purchase is I look to see which devices I can purchase that are unlocked. Meaning they're directly from the carrier, they're not coming from a provider, just because it removes that one opportunity of being blocked by the provider for a financial reason, phone not being paid off, etc. So the way that I look at that and the way that I make sure is every phone that is actually unlocked from the provider has a specific model number that is different to the one that the provider has. So as an example, I'm going to give you an example right here. The this is the S21 Ultra that just came out last year, has a model number of G998U if you get it from the provider. If you get it directly unlocked from Samsung, it should have that one at the very end there. That is a really, really good sign that that phone is probably not going to have any financial blocks at all. Now, there is still ways where you can go into the software and change the software settings to where it will still show up as a Samsung device. So this isn't the main way that I look at blocks and whatnot. I still go through everything else to make sure that it's still unblocked. But this is a really, really good way to do it this way, because most people don't go in and change the software on phones. So that is the second thing that I look for whenever I'm purchasing phones. Now this is just with Samsungs. I know Apple has certain model numbers. You're gonna have to do some research. You're gonna have to do some digging to get your money's worth, I guess, and to make sure that you're investing your money properly into a phone that's not gonna burn you on the back end, right? So with Samsung, it's the one at the end. Other carriers, other providers, it's different things. Like for example, the OnePlus phone, which is the which is a phone that's provided by T-Mobile as well too. That phone has a different model number for the unlocked version and a different one for the carrier version. So just things to pay attention to whenever you're purchasing a phone. Now, the next thing that I look at in order to just offer properly on OfferUp, for example, and or even on this website that I use called Swappa.com. By the way, this is not sponsored, although if they want to sponsor me, they can. What I look at is I look at the going rate. And I don't look at, for example, we're looking here at the S21 Ultra again. I don't look at what they're up for, like what they're selling for. I scroll all the way to the bottom and I look at for what they've recently sold for. And I kind of get an average, so I kind of have an idea of what to potentially offer these buyers or these sellers. So me as the buyer, I have the ability to offer something completely different. These are the listed prices, but just like anything else, in the used market world, everything is negotiable, right? To a certain extent. You don't want to be somebody who's lowballing and just ripping people off. That's not what I'm saying. But you can look here and some people just outprice themselves, some sellers. So you can offer something and sometimes they will be willing to accept the offer. Guys, remember when you're in a used market field, the answer is always no unless you ask, right? And there's nothing wrong with asking. Like, if they don't want to accept the price, they don't have to. Right? Some buyers will get upset about it. Some sellers will get upset about it. So what? Like, you're not trying to hurt anybody's feeling. You're trying to negotiate. This is what you bring to the table. This is what they have. Can we make a deal? No? Okay. Can I meet you halfway? This is how you're going to get the best price, guys. So that is the third thing that I look at, or that I do. And whenever I'm pricing something out on OfferUp, because you can't see a recently sold or recently bought, I will go to this website and I'll see what the actual going rate is for. So if they're selling here for $720, $680, and someone on OfferUp is selling them for $900, then I'll use this as a reference point and I'll say, hey, look, this is what the market is saying. And I'll be nice about it too. I'll just be like, hey, I just wanted to offer this. The reason why I'm offering this is because there's actually a used cell phone website that's offering them for this. Would you consider doing this? And hey, look, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. So what? So what? That's how you do it, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. This is what the market is, right? So that's the third thing that I look at whenever I'm purchasing a used phone. Now, my final tip for you guys is, let's just say you're just a little bit too hesitant. Those 3 tips were great, Chris, and everything, but like, I'm just a little bit afraid because what if the phone's damaged? What if this? What if that? I completely get it. If you feel that way, then I would recommend that you jump on Swappa.com or a website like that, like eBay or whatever. Swappa just tends to have the best pricing right now when it comes to used smartphones. I recommend that you log on there and you purchase a phone through there. Because guess what? You purchase a phone through there, you're backed by PayPal's money back guarantee. And if there's ever an issue, they're not going to ghost you and disappear on you. You literally can't. You can literally open up a claim, explain the situation, and PayPal will come in and back you up. So those are my tips. Those are 3 quick tips. But those are my tips in general whenever I'm purchasing a used smartphone. Let me know if you'd like to know some other things that I look at whenever I'm going into the smartphone market and purchasing things, whether it be OfferUp or Swappa. But other than that, I hope that helps you guys whenever you guys are going out and purchasing phones. But until next time, we will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.